which is what we're doing right now in Houston.
An Army investigator contacted Irving once, and Irving was unable to meet with the Army investigator. The Army investigator said that he would come back the next day to talk to Irving. I don't think, Irving, that you've heard from the Army investigator since then, have you?
No. I haven't heard from them. That was the only time.
And I don't believe Eric's been contacted at all.
Well, I'd like to...
Let me say.
Go ahead, Congressman Green.
Well, what I'd like to say is it sounds like it's not an isolated incident, whether it was in '05 or this year. And if you have some type of semi-prison system where you're keeping people at hotels, that sounds like it's more systemic. It's a problem with the system instead of just with individual recruiters.
We're going to go to break and then come back to continue this conversation. We're going to play another clip of a conversation that Irving Gonzalez had with the person who first recruited him, and find out about the increasing number of incidents reported of recruiter irregularities and the question of illegality and investigation. This is Democracy Now! We'll be back in a minute. Singing I Ain't Marching Anymore. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The person who actually recruited Irving Gonzalez and Eric Martinez was Corporal Lisette Diaz. I want to play an excerpt of her conversation with Irving Gonzalez when he told her that he changed his mind about joining. This is a Democracy Now! Exclusive.
Have you talked to Eric?
No, but his mom told me.
Yeah, you don't want whatever's going to happen to him to happen to you.
What's going to happen?
You don't, I don't know. I mean, whatever, if he ever does, if he ever gets pulled over or whatever, and then look up and stuff, you never know what can happen.
I think I could do better with my life out here than in there.
You think so? The way the economy is going right now? Really?
Or the struggle and be free.
That's in your best interest. What's that?
I think I'd rather struggle.
You rather struggle? Are you serious? Think about what you're saying. The way the economy is going right now and the way it's going to go in the next couple of years, it's not looking good. You really, as us,
No.
Sometimes you have to grow up and learn how to be a man and take care of stuff on your own. You know what I'm saying? You want to sit there and live with your mom for the next 4, 5, 6 years or whatever. You know, you want to do something different than what your friends are doing. Because when you come back and you see what your friends are doing, still living at home with mom and dad, struggling, trying to make a job, make money, make a living, you're going to be like, damn, I'm glad I did. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you from experience. Because I see that. So now, you got about a month left before you leave. You got just a little less than a month. And if you go to basic training and you still don't like it, it's easier getting out of it. Like once you're in basic training, all you gotta do is go and talk to the chaplain. So I don't want this. I want to go home. And then send you home. They don't have time. All day. They got soldiers to train.
That was the recruiter, Lisette Diaz, attempting to recruit Irving Gonzalez. Douglas Smith, Public Affairs Officer for the U.S. Army Recruiting Command. I wanted to ask you, is it true? Is it true what she says, that it's easier to leave after basic training than not to go at all?
No, leaving from basic training is more difficult than asking for release from the Future Soldier Training Program.
So is the recruiter, Lisette Diaz, lying to Irving?
I can't comment on that recording. The matter is under investigation.
Irving Gonzalez, when you heard this, what did you decide to do? What gave you the strength to think that you wouldn't be punished if you didn't go?
Well, Dwight and Maureen, they were helping me a lot with the information, you know, telling me that helping me find more information, because I was taking their word too, but I was looking at it on the internet, you know, people that this has happened to and stuff. And whenever I had my conversation with Diaz, it was another conversation that I had with her. I told her, is there anything I could do? You know, can you help me not go? And she's like, no, you need to go. There's nothing you could do. You're gonna need to go. And at that point, I was like, I'm just a number to her. You know, if she don't care about me going, why should I, you know, care about her meeting her quota or anything like that? So I started feeling that it wasn't as important me going as they were making it seem. I mean, they just wanted just that one more person. Because even when I talked to, whenever we did the recording for Glenn Marquette, I told him my name, but it didn't seem like he was actually interested in my name. He was just saying that I was a future soldier and that I was thinking of not going. So it felt like he was basically like reading it off of a script, what he was saying, because he didn't even care what my name was. He just knew I was a future soldier.
Douglas Smith, Public Affairs Officer for the U.S. Army Recruiting Command in Kentucky. You said that the military, the Army, is dealing with this. But it turns out, and I'm looking at the CBS figures, instead of going down, allegations of wrongdoing are going up year after year. In 2005, 836 complaints filed against recruiters. That rose to 874 last year. The Army is on pace to surpass that figure in 2008. What's more, the number of Army recruiters given formal admonishments has nearly doubled since the first report of 3 years ago of CBS, with 373 citations going up to 635. Are things getting worse because recruiters are getting more desperate to meet these quotas?
No, things are not getting worse based on recruiters needing to make quotas. We have achieved our national recruiting goals every year, 2006 and 2007, and we're on track to achieve our goals again this year in fiscal year 2008.
Then why are things getting worse? Why are these incidents going up and up? And, of course, these are only the ones that get reported. We didn't talk today about the numerous allegations of sexual abuse. AP did some stunning work on that, an expose that we did another show on.
Well, allegations of recruiters are lower than in previous years. It is true in stating that they were up from fiscal year 05 through fiscal year 07. The number of recruiters who were found to have committed an impropriety, that is, doing something that they shouldn't, has been relatively stable over the past few years. The number of recruiters being admonished is a sign of the fact that we're taking this very seriously. An admonishment is a negative action taken against a recruiter, whether or not we found that the allegation was substantiated. We admonish recruiters even when we can find no proof that they did something wrong. If we see that they may have skirted the regulation, they may have made a mistake.
I think the problem with the public hearing that, when you say it's encouraging to hear that the admonishments have gone up, is that Sergeant Kelt was admonished and he was promoted. We don't know what the admonishment was. We just know he's been made commander of a recruiting center.
Well, I don't know of any organization where an admonishment, depending on what the finding was, would necessarily result in the person being fired from their job.
Not necessarily fired.
The level of admonishment must meet
right, but not fired. Not fired, but promoted.
Same thing.
Maureen Haver, you have a question for Douglas Smith.
Well, I don't know of too many other organizations that are recruiting teenagers to go and fight in a war. And this also represents